Black Light, let's get right to it. Now, last video we was giving you some hints on organization. Organization is a thing where you're always going to have a sellout. Somebody who is a Judas goat, is a Judas. You see, when you read the Bible, that's how you got to look at things. How did Jesus organize his people? All you Christians, see, y'all don't really go deep enough. See, when you say God, you're talking about multi-layers, multi-worlds, multi-dimensions. When you say Allah, that's you're talking about this double time, you know. I keep showing the Constitution and the Nation of Islam. That's my mother's Nation of Islam registration book, or where she pay dues, you know. Now, I'm gonna tell you the significance of why I got that set up like that. You see, I got the world or the planet. I got chessmen. I got two figureheads, the man and the woman. And I got the Constitution. And I got an incense burning, you know, and my mother's Nation of Islam, Temple Number 1 here in Detroit. That's very significant because there's a reason why Master Farad came to Detroit. Why he picked Detroit? You know, brother said, because Elijah Muhammad was here. Yeah. But it's deeper than that. Detroit is ran by so-called Jews and Italians. Now look at how Detroit is set up. Detroit is a port city surrounded by 5 Great Lakes. It's an international city because it's right across the bridge from Canada, which is a satellite of England. You got a little French over there too, France over there, but it's Europe over there. But the indigenous people are mostly in south of the border, South America, in the Caribbean and whatever, because you know they settled there first. They brought some of the slaves from Africa over there first. Now, what they're trying to do now, your enemy has turned most of the black people against their own kind. Most of them have government jobs, overt and covert. And they own the post office. That's government. Federal. A lot more jobs. We're going to get into how deep that goes, you know, later on. But as I was saying in the last video, that when you have making a nice little chunk of change, you got to have either audience to support that money or following to have you revenue. You can make a good living off of, people idol worshiping you. That's all it is. Because half of the people don't, if you got a message, it ain't, that message what draws them to you. In most cases. Now, I ain't saying it's impossible, but I'm saying that in most cases, it's not that message. In most cases, it's the charm that the person has, the elegance, the manner of speech, the way the person looks, his or her good looks, what they call good looks. Because beauty is really in the eye of the beholder, in the eye of the beholder. But how most people define the beauty is who would be up on that screen. Like Marilyn Monroe and Dorothy Dandridge, and that's how they do. That's how whoever's on that, who's ever on the screen, is how they define who look good. If you look like them, you look good. If you light skinned like Beyonce or like Prince, then you look good. That's why Michael probably tried to change his looks. Because light skinned brothers and sisters, was being mostly imitated. Morris Day, all them. But when you get into that world of entertainment in the music industry, you got to do things. Once you start getting to a certain level, making a lot of money, you got to do things that you don't want to do. My mama ran that on me a long time ago. She said, son, because, y'all don't, if y'all don't know by now, y'all know that I got a liking for making music. I like to make music. And this is why I could talk like I'm talking. Because I never got to the point where I had to do favors, but they almost got me one time. And I'm going to tell you, briefly what went down, but let me finish this point here first. My mother told me, she said, you never know what they had to do to get where they at. You might have to kill somebody or something like that. And I know that. I say, you know what? I say, because, I was a street guy too, And I know that some gangs that I never did get involved with. I went and formed my own gang, but certain gangs, you had to kill somebody to get in the inner circle, to be running with that gang or a member of that gang. And I almost did that one time, but I had the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad in my DNA. And even though my mother was out the temple, I was running with brothers that wasn't in the temple, because my mother was out of the temple. And I'll mention that on another day while she was out. And one brother, I, dug my heart because they wanted to jump on me. I was coming from a girl's house across enemy lines in another gang's territory, and they followed me before I could get to, my homies, and they wanted to jump on me. My homie ran out on me. I had one dude with me. He ran out, and I had to fight these dudes. But how I did it was I psyched on them, and I offered to fight them one at a time. Back then, in those days, I was boxing, and plus I knew a little martial arts. I was about 15, something like that. Anyway, I had them to fight me one at a time, and I went through them. So the leader was impressed, and he wanted me to get with them, but he wanted me to ultimately kill somebody, shoot somebody to get in the gang, and I wouldn't do it. And so I formed my own gang, but just for protection, We mostly was a club. I didn't call us a gang. I called us a club. And we took up dues. And what we was going to do was give parties and stuff like that and make money hustling, not selling no drugs or nothing. This was in the days before the drugs hit the big city. This was back in early 60s. Back in 62. But they wanted me to be in the Baby Shakers when I was about 10. No, I wasn't even 10, man. I was about, 10. 10 or 11. And because I stood up to them. But I wasn't no follower. I never was a follower. I was always a leader. I followed to a degree now. I would learn, get to know who I was dealing with. But then once I found out that I wasn't dealing with, the person wasn't cool, I cut them loose in a heartbeat. And I never was an idol worshiper. When I studied people like James Brown, and I looked at their craft, how they manipulated their craft, their arts. And James Brown, I looked at how he took care of business. And that's the reason why they killed him. One of the reasons why they be killing brothers, because of the influence they have. And they don't want nobody to walk in their footsteps. So they make an example out of you. These are things that y'all young brothers need to know. They need to know how to set up a technique to avoid it, because you could get paid, but as soon as you start making a lot of money, you're going to get infiltrated, or they're going to try to kill you, or if they can't infiltrate you, they're going to try to snipe you. See? This is Black Light coming back with another one of these.